The blood on her hands wasn't hers. Haley scrubbed harder, nails digging into her palms as the cold water ran pink in the stone basin. The kitchen was empty now, everyone had gone to the ceremony, but she could still hear the echo of laughter from the great hall above. Another mating. Another bond snapping into place like a lock finding its key. She would never know what that felt like. "I've never been loved," she whispered to the water, testing the words. They tasted like ash. 23 years in the palace of the North Mountain Pack, and not once had anyone looked at her the way wolves looked at their mates. Not once had she felt the pull, the recognition, the rightness everyone else seemed born knowing. She was human. Packless. A servant who scrubbed floors and kept her eyes down and made herself so small that sometimes she wondered if she even existed at all. The door behind her opened. Haley's spine locked. She knew that scent, pine and winter storms, and something darker, something that made her hindbrain scream alpha, alpha, run. "You're bleeding." His voice was granite wrapped in silk. She didn't turn around. "It's not mine, Your Majesty." Her voice came out steady. Good. She'd practiced that. One of the kitchen maids cut herself. I helped bandage it. King Frederick Thorne didn't respond immediately. Haley could feel him behind her, a wall of heat and power that made the air pressure change. He was the Alpha King of the entire North, commander of 12 packs, enforcer of ancient laws, and utterly, devastatingly untouchable. He also terrified her. Not because he was cruel. That would have been easier to understand. No, it was the way he watched her. Like he was waiting for something. Like she was a puzzle he couldn't solve. "Look at me." It wasn't a request. Haley dried her hands on her apron and turned, keeping her gaze somewhere around his collarbone. Even that felt like staring into the sun. Frederick Thorne was built like violence, barely contained 6.5 feet of brutal elegance, dark hair that fell just past his jaw, and eyes that shifted between gray and gold depending on how close his wolf was to the surface. Right now, they were molten. "Why argue at the ceremony?" he asked. "I'm not Pack, Your Majesty." "It would be inappropriate." His mouth curved, but it wasn't quite a smile. "You've lived in this palace since you were an infant, Haley. You've served my family for over 2 decades. If anyone has earned the right to witness our traditions, it's you." Her name in his mouth felt like a brand. "I prefer the quiet," she said carefully. "Liar." The word cracked through the space between them. Haley's eyes snapped up before she could stop herself, and oh, that was a mistake. His gaze locked onto hers like a predator sighting prey, and for one breathless, impossible moment, she felt seen. Not as a servant. Not as human. As something he wanted to devour. Then he stepped closer. Haley's back hit the stone basin. Trapped. Her heart was a war drum against her ribs. "You prefer the quiet," Frederick repeated softly, "because being in a room full of mated pairs reminds you of what you think you'll never have." She couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. How did he know? "I've never been loved," she heard herself say. The words slipped out like a confession, raw and ruined. Not the way they are. Not the way anyone is. "I'm human. I don't have a mate. I don't have a pack. I don't have anything." Silence. Awful, crushing silence. Then Frederick moved, one hand braced on the basin beside her head, the other tilting her chin up with a gentleness that felt like blasphemy from a man made of edges. "I can be yours." The world stopped. Haley stared at him, at the way his jaw was tight, and his eyes were burning, and his pulse was racing in his throat like hers, and she thought, this is cruelty. This is a king offering comfort he can never give. This is... Why? The word ripped out of her. "Why would you say that to me?" His thumb brushed her cheek. "Because you deserve to be loved, Haley. And because I..." A howl split the night. Then another. And another. Frederick's head whipped toward the window, his entire body going rigid. "No." "What?" "Stay here." He was already moving, already shifting, bones cracking, skin rippling into midnight black fur, and then he was gone, a wolf the size of a horse launching through the doorway. Haley stood frozen in the kitchen, her heart still thundering, her mind still trapped on 4 impossible words. I can be yours. Outside, the howls turned to screams. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're having an amazing day. Wherever you are in the world, drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from. Before we dive deeper into Haley's story, if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that button and turn on notifications so you never miss a twist, a revelation, or a heart-stopping moment. Trust me, you're going to want to see where this goes. This story? It's going to wreck you in the best way possible. Now, let's get back to the palace. Because what Haley doesn't know, what no one knows, is that her entire life has been a lie. And the Alpha King? He's been keeping a secret that could destroy them both. The screaming stopped as suddenly as it started. Haley pressed herself against the kitchen wall, every instinct screaming at her to run, to hide, to disappear the way she'd learned to do her entire life. But her feet wouldn't move. Her body had betrayed her, rooted to the spot where the Alpha King had just. I can be yours. No, she couldn't think about that. Not now. Not when something was clearly wrong, when the palace was erupting with snarls and the acrid smell of fierce sweat, and Haley! She jumped as Stella burst through the kitchen door, her best friend's face flushed and eyes wild. Stella was Wolfborn, a Beta's daughter who'd grown up alongside Haley in the palace. Where Haley was invisible, Stella was golden, all copper curls and easy smiles and the kind of confidence that came from knowing exactly where you belonged. Thank the moon you're here. Stella grabbed her arms, fingers digging in hard enough to bruise. We need to get you to the safe room. Now. What's happening? Rogues. A whole pack of them breached the border. Stella was already pulling her toward the servants' corridor. I don't know how they got past the sentries, but Haley, they're asking for you. The world tilted. What? They're demanding the unmarked human in the Alpha King's palace. They're demanding you. Stella's voice cracked. Frederick's losing his mind out there. I've never seen him like this. He's... A wolf's howl cut through the air, so full of rage and possession that Haley felt it in her bones. That was Frederick. She didn't know how she knew, but she knew. Why would rogues want me? Haley whispered. I'm nobody. I'm nothing. Stella stopped walking. She turned, and there was something strange in her eyes. Something that looked almost like pity. Haley, has anyone ever told you how you came to live here? I was orphaned as a baby. The old Alpha King took me in out of mercy. No. Stella's grip tightened. That's what they told you. But I heard my father talking to the council once, years ago. He thought I was asleep. She swallowed hard. You weren't orphaned. You were hidden. Brought here in the middle of the night by a dying woman who made the old king swear a blood oath to keep you safe. To keep you secret. The corridor spun. From what? I don't know. But Haley, Stella's voice dropped to barely a whisper. That woman? She wasn't human. She was wolf. And she had a mark on her throat. The mark of the old bloodline. Haley's hand flew to her own throat. Smooth. Unmarked. Human. That's impossible. I can't be. The rogues know something. Stella pulled her forward again, faster now. And whatever it is, Frederick's been keeping it from you. From everyone. They rounded a corner and nearly collided with Jerry, Frederick's second-in-command. He was in half-shift, his face elongated and claws extended, blood dripping from a gash across his ribs. Get her to the king's quarters, he snarled at Stella. Not the safe room. His quarters. And don't let anyone else near her. But the protocol. Fuck protocol. Jerry's eyes flashed amber. She's not just some servant, Stella. She never was. And if those rogues get their hands on her before Frederick can, he cut himself off, shaking his head. Just go. Now. He was gone before Haley could find her voice. The king's quarters. She'd cleaned them 1,000 times, but never been ordered to hide there. Those rooms were sacred. Private. They smelled like him, like that pine and storm scent that made her feel safe and terrified in equal measure. Stella dragged her up 3 flights of stairs, through a door that required a key Haley didn't know she had, and into a suite of rooms that stole her breath. Dark wood, furs and leather, floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked the mountains. And in the center of it all, a bed large enough to fit 5 wolves. Or 1 alpha king and the mate he'd someday claim. Stella, I can't be here. You don't have a choice. Stella locked the door behind them, then turned. Her copper eyes were bright with unshed tears. I need to tell you something. Something I should have told you years ago. Haley's chest constricted. What? You know how wolves can sense things? Pack bonds, mate bonds, bloodlines. Stella's voice shook. I've always been able to sense everyone in this palace. Their rank, their family, their place in the hierarchy. But you. She laughed, bitter and broken. You've always been a blank space to me. Like you don't exist. Like something is hiding you. I'm human. No. Stella stepped closer. Humans have a scent. A presence. You don't. You never have. And Frederick? He's been watching you since he took the throne 5 years ago. Not like a king watches a servant. Like a wolf watches something he's both desperate for and terrified of. The memory of his words crashed over her again. I can be yours. Why? Haley whispered. I think Stella's voice broke. I think he knows what you are. And I think he's been protecting you from finding out. A crash echoed from somewhere below. Snarling. The wet sound of flesh tearing. Then, cutting through it all like a blade. Frederick's voice, amplified by alpha authority, shaking the very foundations of the palace. Touch her and I will burn this world to ash. Haley's knees buckled. Because she felt that command. Not just heard it, felt it. Like a chain wrapping around her chest, like invisible hands cupping her face, like a bond. No, she breathed. No, that's not possible. I can't be. Stella caught her as she fell. Haley, I think you're his mate. And I think someone's been hiding it from both of you. The door exploded inward. Frederick filled the doorway like a nightmare given form. He was still half-shifted, caught between man and wolf, his body too large, too other to be either. Blood streaked his chest, none of it his own. His eyes burned pure gold, and when they locked onto Haley, something in them cracked open. Relief. Rage. And underneath it all, hunger. Out, he said to Stella. His voice was gravel and smoke. Stella didn't move. Your Majesty, she needs answers. Out. The word rippled with alpha command, irresistible and absolute. Stella's body moved before her mind could catch up, her wolf instincts bowing to a power older than thought. She stumbled toward the door, casting one last desperate look at Haley before the king's command propelled her into the hallway. The door slammed shut. Silence. Heavy and suffocating. Haley couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. Frederick was stalking toward her with predatory grace, and every step sent shockwaves through her chest, that feeling again, that impossible pull that couldn't exist because she was human and humans didn't have. Stop. Her voice came out strangled. Don't come closer. He froze mid-step. The muscles in his jaw worked like he was physically fighting himself. You felt it. It wasn't a question. When I spoke. When I commanded. You felt it. I don't know what you're talking about. Liar. He took another step, and this time she could see him trembling. I can hear your heartbeat, Haley. I can smell your fear and your confusion, and underneath it all, his voice dropped to something raw and ruined. Underneath it all, I can smell us. There is no us. She pressed herself against the window, glass cold against her spine. I'm human. You're the Alpha King. We can't. I know. The words came out like a confession. Do you think I don't know? Do you think I haven't spent 5 years watching you, wanting you, burning for you while every law in my kingdom says you're impossible? Haley's breath caught. 5 years. Since he'd taken the throne. Since he'd become king and she'd been, what? 19? 20? Still invisible, still nobody, still. The night I was crowned, Frederick continued, his voice rough, I walked past you in the kitchens. You were washing dishes. You didn't even look up. And I felt it like lightning striking, like the moon goddess herself reached down and branded your name on my soul. He laughed, bitter and broken. I spent 3 days thinking I'd gone insane. Humans don't have mate bonds. It's impossible. Then why? Because you're not human, Haley. The world stopped. What? Frederick's eyes burned into hers. You were never human. Your scent was masked, your nature suppressed, your very existence hidden by magic so old and powerful that it's been slowly killing you your entire life. That's insane. Is it? He moved closer, inexorable as a tide. Have you never wondered why you feel so tired all the time? Why you fade into the background no matter what you do? Why people forget you exist even when you're standing right in front of them? She had. God, she had. Every single day of her life. The woman who brought you here, Frederick said softly, was your mother. And she died casting a blood spell to hide what you are. To protect you from the wolves who would kill you the moment they knew you existed. Haley's legs gave out. She slid down the window, the world tilting sickeningly. Why? The word ripped out of her. Why would anyone want me dead? Frederick crouched in front of her, and his hand, still clawed, still dangerous, reached out to cup her face with devastating gentleness. Because you're not just wolf, Haley. You're old blood. The last daughter of the moon-marked line. And according to ancient law, his thumb brushed her cheekbone, and she felt that touch everywhere. The Alpha King cannot mate with moon-marked blood. The bond is forbidden. The union is treason. Her mind was spinning, fracturing. Then why did you say that I could be yours? His smile was all edges. Because I've spent 5 years trying to break a bond that should never have formed. 5 years researching every ancient text, every blood law, every loophole in pack magic. And 3 months ago, I found something. He pulled back, and she immediately felt the loss like a wound. There's a ritual, Frederick said. A way to transfer the mate bond. To sever what the moon goddess created and forge a new connection with someone else. Someone aloud. His voice turned to ash. I've been preparing for it. Planning to rip out half my soul so I can give you a normal life. So you can be free. Free? Haley stared at him. You think I want to be free of... She couldn't finish. Couldn't name the thing building inside her chest, hot and desperate and furious. The rogues, Frederick continued, his voice hollow now. They're not just rogues. They're blood hunters, wolves who hunt moon-marked descendants for the bounty on their heads. Someone told them you're here. Someone betrayed us. His eyes flashed. And they won't stop until you're dead or they are. A howl rose from the grounds below. Closer now. Hungry. Frederick's head snapped toward the window, his wolf surging forward. When he looked back at her, his eyes were pure predator. I need you to listen very carefully, Haley. In about 30 seconds, the suppression spell your mother cast is going to shatter. You're going to shift for the first time in your life, and it's going to hurt worse than anything you can imagine. He gripped her shoulders. But when it's over, you'll be wolf. You'll be powerful. And you'll finally understand why I've been keeping my distance. Frederick. Because if I claim you, if I give in to this bond, they will execute us both. Heat exploded through Haley's body. She screamed. Pain. Not the sharp kind, the kind that lived in bones and marrow and screamed as something ancient and furious tore its way out of her cells. Haley's body was betraying her, reshaping itself, and she could feel every single second of it. Frederick's hands were on her face, his voice a lifeline in the chaos. Breathe, Haley. Don't fight it. Let her out. Her. Haley gasped between waves of agony. Your wolf. His eyes were blazing. She's been caged for 23 years. She's angry. Angry didn't begin to cover it. Haley felt her rising like a tidal wave, primal, violent, and utterly done with being hidden. Her skin rippled. Her teeth lengthened. And then, snap. The world exploded into color and scent and sound. Everything was sharper, brighter, overwhelming. She could hear heartbeats 3 floors down. Could smell the blood on the wind. could feel the pack bonds threading through the palace like spiderwebs of light. And Frederick. Oh God, Frederick. He blazed in her new senses like a sun. Golden and fierce and hers, the bond between them a living thing, thick as a rope and burning like starfire. Mate, her wolf growled in her head, the voice finally real. Ours. Claim. Now. Haley's hands, still human, barely fisted in Frederick's shirt. I can feel you, she breathed. I can feel everything. His pupils dilated. I know. You've been feeling this for 5 years? Every single day. His voice was ragged. Watching you. Wanting you. Knowing I could never. A crash from below cut him off. Then Jerry's voice, rough with panic. Frederick. They've breached the inner sanctum. The Alpha King's head snapped up, every inch of him going lethal. But he didn't move. Didn't leave her. Go, Haley managed. You have to. I'm not leaving you. His hands tightened on her shoulders. Not now. Not when you're vulnerable. I'm not vulnerable. The words surprised her. But they were true. She could feel strength flooding her limbs, power coiling in her chest. I'm furious. Something flickered in Frederick's eyes. Pride, maybe. Or fear. Haley, they want me dead because of what I am? She rose to her feet, steadier than she'd been in her entire life. Then let them come. You don't understand what you're saying. Don't I? She turned on him, and for the first time in 23 years, she didn't make herself small. I've spent my whole life being nothing. Being invisible. Being afraid. And now you're telling me I'm some kind of forbidden bloodline? That I'm powerful enough that wolves hunt me for sport. Her voice shook. I'm done hiding, Frederick. His wolf rose to meet hers, gold bleeding into his eyes. You don't know how to fight. Then teach me. There's no time. Then I'll figure it out. She stepped closer, close enough to feel the heat radiating off him. You said you could be mine. Did you mean it? The question hung between them like a blade. Haley. Her name in his mouth was a prayer and a curse. If I claim you, if we complete this bond, the council will call for our execution. Ancient law doesn't bend. Not even for kings. Then we break it. It's not that simple. Isn't it? She reached up, her fingers brushing his jaw. The touch sent sparks racing through the bond, and Frederick's breath hitched. You've been researching loopholes for 5 years. Tell me you haven't found something. His hand came up to cover hers, pressing it against his face. There's one way, one chance. But he closed his eyes. It requires a blood trial. You would have to challenge the council's authority. Prove your worth in front of the entire pack. Fine. Haley, you've been wolf for less than 5 minutes. Then I'll learn fast. She pulled his face down to hers, their foreheads touching. I've never been loved, Frederick. You said you could change that. So change it. Fight for me. Let me fight for you. His control shattered. He kissed her like he was dying, like she was air, and he'd been drowning for 5 years. His hands were everywhere, her hair, her waist, her throat, and Haley kissed him back with a ferocity she didn't know she possessed. The bond between them sang, golden and fierce, and finally acknowledged. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, Frederick's eyes were pure wolf. You're mine, he growled. Yes, I'll kill anyone who tries to take you. I know. And if the council tries to execute us, we'll burn that bridge when we get to it. She smiled, sharp and new. Right now, we have blood hunters to deal with. Pride blazed across his face. Then he stepped back, his body already shifting. Stay close to me. Don't engage unless you have to. And Haley? His voice was already roughening, deepening into the wolf. When this is over, when we survive this, I'm going to claim you properly. In front of the moon. In front of the pack. In front of everyone. Promises, promises, your majesty. His wolf grinned, all teeth. Then he threw back his head and howled, a sound of challenge and rage and absolute authority. The palace answered. Haley felt the pack respond through the bonds she could suddenly sense, threads of loyalty and hierarchy snapping into formation. But underneath it all, she felt something else. Something wrong. A bond that felt like rot. Like betrayal. Someone in this palace wasn't loyal to their king. Someone had called the Blood Hunters. And they were still here. "Frederick," she said urgently. "Wait." The window exploded inward. 3 wolves, massive, scarred, stinking of rogue and madness, crashed into the room. And the largest one, a brute with a torn ear, looked directly at Haley with knowing, hungry eyes. "Hello, little Moonblood," he snarled. "We've been waiting for you." Frederick moved like death incarnate. One moment he was beside Haley, the next he was across the room, jaws clamped around the throat of the scarred rogue. Blood sprayed. The wolf gurgled, thrashing, but Frederick didn't let go. He shook once, hard, and the rogue went limp. The other 2 circled, snarling. Haley's wolf surged forward, demanding she fight, that she protect, but her human mind was still catching up. She'd never fought. Never shifted. Never. "Behind you." She spun. A 4th rogue, smaller, faster, had come through the shattered window. It lunged for her throat. Instinct took over. Haley's body moved before her mind could process, dropping low and rolling. Claws whistled past her ear. She came up in a crouch, and her wolf was screaming now, clawing at the inside of her skin. "Let me out." The rogue charged again. This time, Haley didn't think. She just shifted. The transformation was brutal and fast. Bones cracking, reforming, for erupting across her skin in a wave of silver white that gleamed like moonlight. When she opened her eyes, the world had changed again, sharper, clearer, right. The rogue skidded to a stop, eyes widening. "Impossible," it breathed. "You're the mark." Haley looked down at her new form, at the paws that gleamed silver, at the fur that seemed to shimmer with inner light, and at her throat, now visible in the reflection of the window glass, a mark. Crescent moon and stars, glowing faintly beneath her fur. The mark of the Moonblessed. The rogue turned and ran. Frederick dispatched the last attacker with cold efficiency, then shifted back to human form. His eyes were wild as they landed on her. "Haley," he breathed. "Your wolf." "She's magnificent," rumbled a new voice. They both whipped around. An older man stood in the doorway, silver-haired, refined, wearing council robes. Adam, head of the Alpha King's Council. Haley had seen him 1,000 times, had served him wine and cleared his plates, and he'd never once looked at her directly. Now he couldn't look away. 23 years, Adam said softly, stepping into the room. 23 years we've kept you hidden, protected. And now his eyes gleamed. Now you've finally awakened. Frederick's growl shook the walls. "You knew." "Of course I knew." Adam smiled, and there was nothing kind in it. "I was there the night your mother brought you, Haley. I was there when she cast the blood spell. When she made your father swear to hide you. To keep you human. My father." Haley's voice came out strangled. "The old Alpha King." Adam tilted his head. "Did you really think he took you in out of mercy? You're his daughter, child. His bastard. Born of a forbidden union between an alpha and a moon-blessed wolf." His gaze slid to Frederick. "Which makes you and your dear king here, what's the word, step-siblings?" The world tilted. "No," Frederick snarled. "That's a lie." "Is it?" Adam pulled a scroll from his robes. "Blood records don't lie, your majesty. Your father broke the very law you're so desperately trying to circumvent. He mated with moon-blessed blood. And when the council discovered it, when they demanded her execution, he paused. He chose his throne over his mate. Let them kill her. Kept the child as a pet." Haley couldn't breathe. The old king, the man who'd given her shelter, who'd ignored her existence, who'd let her be treated like nothing. "He was my father," she whispered. "And he was a coward." Adam moved closer. "But you? You're the proof that moon-blessed blood breeds true. You're more powerful than he ever was. Than Frederick will ever be." His voice dropped. "And that's why the council wants you dead, little one." Because if you live, if you claim your birthright, you could challenge for the throne. You could unite the old packs. You could end the council's power forever. Frederick stepped between them. Touch her and I'll. You'll what? Adam's eyes flashed. Kill a council member? Start a civil war. He laughed. You're already doomed, Frederick. The moment she shifted, the moment that mark appeared, every wolf in this kingdom felt it. They know what she is now. And according to the law your father himself enforced, he pulled out a blade, ancient and etched with runes. Moon-blessed blood cannot sit beside an Alpha King. It must be destroyed. The blood hunters, Haley breathed. You called them. I freed them from their chains. Adam smiled. They were supposed to kill you before you awakened. Quick. Merciful. But you're stronger than we thought. His gaze hardened. No matter. The council is already gathering. By sunrise, they'll vote for your execution. And your dear Frederick, he looked at the king with something like pity. If he tries to protect you, they'll execute him too. For treason. For breaking the sacred laws. There has to be another way, Frederick started. There is. Adam's voice turned silk smooth. Reject her. Publicly. Before the council. Sever the bond. Take an approved mate. And I'll ensure Haley is given mercy, exile instead of death. No. Frederick's response was instant. Absolute. Then you'll both burn. Adam turned toward the door. The council convenes at dawn. I suggest you spend your last night wisely. He left, his footsteps echoing down the hall. Haley stood frozen, her new wolf form trembling. Frederick. He turned to her, and his face was devastated. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know you were. Your sister. The word tasted like poison. Half-sister, he corrected roughly. And I don't, Haley, it doesn't change. He reached for her, then stopped. The bond doesn't care about blood. It chose us anyway. Maybe it chose wrong. Don't. He grabbed her face, her muzzle, his hands shaking. Don't you dare. I've spent 5 years fighting this bond, and I'm done. I don't care about the council. I don't care about the laws. I don't care if we share blood. They'll kill you. Then let them try. His eyes burned gold. But I won't reject you. I can't. The bond between them pulsed golden, fierce, true. And Haley realized neither could she. They had 3 hours until dawn. Haley shifted back to human form, the change easier now, natural, and immediately staggered. Frederick caught her, pulling her against his chest. Easy, he murmured. Your body needs time to adjust. We don't have time. She looked up at him, at the man who was apparently her half-brother and her mate, and the only thing standing between her and execution. Frederick, what are we going to do? His jaw tightened. We run. What? We leave. Tonight. I'll take you beyond the northern border, past council jurisdiction. And abandon your pack? Haley pulled back. Abandon your throne? Frederick, you're the Alpha King. And you're my mate. The words came out raw. Do you think I care about a crown when the alternative is watching them kill you? They'll hunt us. Forever. Then we'll keep running. No. Haley's voice was steady now, certain. I won't let you give up everything for me. There has to be another way. Frederick's laugh was broken. There isn't. I've searched for 5 years, Haley. Every text, every blood law, every ancient ritual, they all say the same thing. Moon-blessed blood is forbidden to mate with ruling alphas. It's meant to prevent exactly what Adam fears, a consolidation of power too great for the councils to control. Then we break the bond. The words hurt to say. Like you planned. Transfer it to someone else. No. His growl shook the windows. I'm not doing that ritual. Not now. Not ever. Why not? Because I've already tried. The confession exploded out of him. 3 months ago. I found a witch who knew the ritual. I prepared everything, gathered the components, stood in the circle ready to sever our bond, his voice cracked. And I couldn't do it. The moment I tried to cut the thread between us, my wolf nearly killed me from the inside. It would rather die than let you go. Tears burned Haley's eyes. Frederick. A knock at the door interrupted them. Jerry's voice, Urgent, Your Majesty. We have a problem. Frederick's eyes never left Haley's face. Come in. Jerry entered, his expression grim. Stella was with him, her copper eyes red-rimmed. The council's summoned an emergency session, Jerry said. They've moved it up. They're convening now, not at dawn. Haley's heart dropped. Why? Because word is spreading. Stella's voice shook. Every wolf in the kingdom felt it when you shifted. They know there's a moon-blessed wolf in the palace. The packs are in chaos. Some want to protect you, others want you dead. The council is using the unrest to force Frederick's hand. They're demanding he choose, Jerry added quietly. You or the throne. And they want his answer in the next hour. Frederick's face went cold. Tell the council I'll give them my answer in person. Your Majesty. Go. Jerry hesitated, then bowed and left. Stella lingered, her eyes on Haley. I'm sorry, she whispered. I should have told you everything I knew. Should have. Stella, it's not your fault. Isn't it? Tears spilled down her cheeks. I've watched you suffer for years. Watched you think you were nothing while you were actually, her voice broke. You're a princess, Haley. True-born royalty. And I let you scrub floors. You were my only friend. Haley crossed to her, pulling her into a hug. That meant more than any title. Stella clung to her, then pulled back. There might be a way. It's dangerous, probably impossible, but... Tell me. The blood trial. Stella glanced at Frederick. If Haley challenges the council's authority directly, if she invokes the ancient right, she can demand trial by combat. Winner takes all. Absolutely not, Frederick said immediately. It's the only legal path, Stella insisted. If she wins, the council has to acknowledge her right to exist. To mate as she chooses. The law is older than the prohibition against moon-blessed blood. She's been wolf for less than 4 hours. I'll do it. Haley's voice cut through his protest. Haley, no. What choice do we have? She turned to face him. Run and be hunted forever? Watch you give up your crown? Or I fight. I prove I'm strong enough to stand beside you. She lifted her chin. I'm moon-blessed, Frederick. You said it yourself. I'm more powerful than you'll ever be. So let me use it. You don't understand what you're asking. Then explain it to me. The blood trial isn't just combat, Frederick said hoarsely. It's a fight to the death. You would face the council's champion, their strongest warrior, and one of you wouldn't walk away. His hands fisted. I won't risk you like that. But you'll risk yourself? Haley moved closer. Because that's what you're doing. If you choose me over the throne, they'll execute you for treason. At least this way, I have a chance to save us both. You could die. We're going to die if we do nothing. Her voice rose. Frederick, I have spent 23 years being powerless. Letting things happen to me. Accepting that I don't matter. She grabbed his face, forcing him to look at her. I'm done. I'm not running. I'm not hiding. And I'm sure as hell not watching them kill you because I was too afraid to fight. Something in his expression shattered. If you do this, he said quietly, I can't help you. Blood trial rules, you fight alone. I know. The champion they choose will be brutal. Experienced. They'll try to break you. Let them try. He searched her eyes for a long moment. Then, slowly, he nodded. Stella, he said, not looking away from Haley. Tell the council the moon-blessed daughter of the old king invokes the blood trial. And tell them his voice turned to steel. If they harm her through treachery or foul play, I will personally burn every council member alive. Stella bowed and fled. Alone again, Frederick pulled Haley against him, his face buried in her hair. Don't die, he whispered. Please, Haley, don't leave me. I won't. She held him tighter. I promise. But even as she said it, doubt crept in cold and vicious. Because she had no idea how to fight. And dawn was coming fast. The training courtyard was empty except for them. Frederick had led Haley here in silence, his hand never leaving hers. Now he stood in the center of the stone circle, moonlight painting him in silver, and turned to face her. We have 40 minutes, he said. 40 minutes to teach you what takes most wolves years to master. Then we'd better start. Haley rolled her shoulders, trying to ignore the fear clawing at her chest. Shift, Frederick commanded. Let me see your wolf again. She closed her eyes and reached for that wild thing inside her, and this time, it came easily. The shift rolled through her like water, smooth and natural, and when she opened her eyes, she was on 4 paws, her silver-white fur gleaming. Frederick shifted too, his massive black wolf circling her slowly. You're beautiful, his voice echoed in her mind, the pack link, she realized. They could communicate like this. But beauty won't save you in the arena. Then teach me how to survive. He lunged. Haley barely dodged, his teeth snapping inches from her throat. She scrambled back, heart racing. Too slow, Frederick growled. Your instincts are good but unrefined. Again. He attacked 3 more times. Each time she managed to evade barely, but she was reacting, not anticipating. Defensive when she needed to be. Stop thinking like a human, Frederick snarled. Your wolf knows what to do. Trust her. Haley stilled, closed her eyes. And for the first time, she truly listened to the wild thing inside her. Her wolf wasn't afraid. She was furious. Good, the wolf purred. Now let me show you what we can do. When Frederick lunged again, Haley didn't dodge. She moved, dropping low and rolling beneath him, coming up behind and snapping at his hind leg. Her teeth connected with fur, and Frederick yelped in surprise. Yes! His voice was proud. Like that. Use your size, you're smaller, faster. Make them chase you. Tire them out. They trained in a blur of motion. Frederick teaching her to read body language, to use momentum against larger opponents, to find the vulnerable spots. Throat, belly, the soft flesh behind the front legs. And through it all, Haley felt her wolf rising stronger, more confident, more lethal. There's something else, Frederick said finally, both of them panting. Something I need to tell you before you face the arena. They shifted back to human. Haley's muscles were screaming, but she felt more alive than she ever had. What is it? Frederick's expression was grave. Moon-blessed wolves have abilities other wolves don't. Your mother could, he paused. She could command wolves. Not with alpha authority, but with something older. Something that bypassed pack bonds entirely. Haley's breath caught. I can do that? I don't know. The ability manifests differently in each bloodline. But if you can access it, if you can tap into that power, his eyes blazed. You might actually win this. How do I? A howl cut through the night. The council's summons. It was time. Frederick's hand cupped her face. Whatever happens in that arena, know that I love you. That I have loved you from the moment I first saw you. And that I will love you until my last breath. Frederick. No. He kissed her, desperate and fierce. Don't say goodbye. Just promise me you'll fight. That you'll survive. I promise. They walked to the arena hand in hand. The council had assembled in the ancient amphitheater, a bowl of stone that had witnessed blood trials for 1,000 years. Wolves lined the upper levels, hundreds of them, all watching with gleaming eyes. The air stank of anticipation and bloodlust. Adam stood in the center, his smile sharp. Haley, bastard daughter of the old king. You have invoked the blood trial to challenge our authority. Do you understand the terms? Haley stepped forward, and her wolf rose close to the surface. I do. You will face our champion in single combat. No weapons. No interference. To the death. Adam's eyes glittered. Do you accept? I accept. Then let the champion be summoned. The opposite gate opened, and Haley's blood turned to ice. The wolf that emerged was massive, easily twice Frederick's size, with scars crisscrossing its gray hide and eyes that held nothing but murder. But it wasn't the size that made Haley's heart stop. It was the scent. Blood Hunter. The same rogue pack that had attacked the palace. You said single combat, Frederick snarled at Adam. Not an assassin. The Blood Hunter clans have existed longer than your throne, boy. Adam smiled. This one has agreed to serve as champion in exchange for his freedom. Quite legal, I assure you. The wolf, the monster, fixed its gaze on Haley. and spoke, its voice like gravel. I've killed 12 moon-blessed whelps. You'll be 13. Terror clawed at Haley's throat. This thing was a killer. Trained. Experienced. And she was. You are mine. Frederick's voice flooded her mind through the bond. You are moon-blessed. You are powerful beyond measure. And you are going to rip his throat out. Something in Haley's chest ignited. She shifted, and this time, her wolf came roaring out in a blaze of silver light that made the entire arena gasp. The mark on her throat burned bright, crescent moon gleaming like a brand. And she felt it, that other thing Frederick had mentioned. Power that thrummed through her bones, ancient and wild in hers. The blood hunter hesitated. Begin, Adam shouted. The monster charged. And Haley didn't run, didn't dodge. She stood her ground, opened her mouth, and commanded. Stop. The word rolled out like thunder, like moonlight made manifest, like the voice of the goddess herself. The blood hunter's legs locked mid-stride. His eyes went wide with shock and fury as his body refused to obey him. What, how, he snarled. Haley stalked forward, her silver fur blazing. And she felt it now, the truth of what she was. Not just moon-blessed. Moon-chosen. You want to know how many moon-blessed you've killed? Her voice echoed with power. Let me show you what happens when you face one who's done hiding. She released him. And then she attacked. The blood hunter was fast. But Haley was faster. She'd spent 23 years invisible, and her wolf had learned to move like smoke, there and gone before anyone noticed. Now she used it, dancing around the monster's strikes with a grace that made the watching wolves gasp. The hunter's jaws snapped where her throat had been a heartbeat before. His claws raked empty air. And every time he missed, Haley struck back, teeth finding purchase in his shoulder, his flank, his ear. Small wounds. Strategic. Bleeding him slowly. Good, Frederick's voice whispered through their bond. You're doing exactly right. Wear him down. But the hunter was learning. He stopped chasing and planted himself, watching her circle with calculating eyes. You're a clever little bitch, he growled. But you can't hide forever. Eventually you'll have to commit, and when you do, I'll tear you apart. He was right. Haley could feel exhaustion creeping into her new muscles. She'd been wolf for less than 5 hours. This creature had been fighting for decades. She needed to end this. Now. But how? The power, that moon-blessed command, had worked once. Could she do it again? Haley reached for that well of ancient magic, trying to grasp it. The hunter lunged. His teeth caught her back leg, crunching down. Pain exploded white-hot through Haley's body. She yelped, twisting, snapping at his face, but he held on, shaking her like a rabbit. Blood sprayed across stone. The arena erupted in howls, some cheering, others crying out in horror. Frederick's roar shook the very foundations, his wolf throwing itself against the barrier that kept him from the arena floor. Haley! His anguish flooded their bond. Get up. Please. The hunter released her leg and went for her throat. Time slowed. Haley saw his jaws opening, saw the killing strike coming, and something inside her snapped. Not broke, ignited. The mark on her throat blazed like captured moonlight. And her wolf screamed, enough. Power exploded from her in a shockwave of silver light. The hunter flew backward, smashing into the arena wall hard enough to crack stone. Wolves in the stands cried out, shielding their eyes from the brilliance radiating from Haley's form. She stood, her injured leg already beginning to heal, accelerated regeneration, another gift of her bloodline. And as she stalked toward the stunned hunter, she felt her ancestors watching, felt their power flowing through her veins like liquid starlight. You dare, her voice came out layered with 100 others, every moon-blessed wolf who'd come before her, threaten the goddess's chosen? The hunter scrambled backward, terror replacing his earlier confidence. You're not just moon-blessed. I am moonborn. The truth crystallized as she spoke it. First daughter in 5 generations. Heir to the old magic. And you, she bared her teeth. You are nothing. She didn't give him time to respond. Haley launched herself at him with supernatural speed, her jaws finding his throat before he could raise his guard. She bit down not to kill, but to dominate, to force submission. The hunter thrashed, fought, his superior size and strength meaningless against the power flooding through her. And slowly, inevitably, he went still. Submission. Haley held him there for a heartbeat longer, making sure every wolf in the arena saw him broken, saw her victorious. Then she released him and stepped back. The hunter collapsed, gasping. "Mercy," he wheezed. "I yield." Mercy?" Haley's laugh was cold. "You've killed 12 of my bloodline. 12 wolves who had families, packs, futures. And you want mercy?" The arena held its collective breath. Frederick's voice whispered through their bond, "You don't have to kill him. You've won. You've proven yourself." Haley looked up at the stands. At Adam, whose face had gone ashen. At the council members who'd voted for her death. At the hundreds of wolves who'd gathered to watch her die. And at Frederick, whose eyes blazed with pride and love and trust. She turned back to the hunter. "I won't kill you," she said clearly. "Not because you deserve mercy, but because I'm not like you. I don't slaughter the helpless." She stepped closer, her voice dropping to a growl. "But if you or any blood hunter ever comes near me, near my mate, or near any moon-blessed wolf again, I will find you. And I will show you what true moonborn power can do. Understood?" The hunter nodded frantically. "Then run." He didn't need to be told twice. He scrambled up and fled through the gate, limping and broken. Haley shifted back to human form, standing naked and bloodied in the center of the arena. Her leg was healed, her silver hair wild around her face, and the moon mark on her throat still glowing faintly. She looked directly at Adam. "I've won your blood trial," she said, her voice carrying to every corner of the amphitheater. "According to ancient law, you must acknowledge my right to exist. My right to choose my own mate." Her eyes blazed. "So here's my choice. I claim Frederick Thorn, Alpha King of the North, as my mate. And if any wolf here challenges that," she smiled, all teeth. "Step into this arena. Let's make it official." Silence. Then, a howl rose from the stands. Not of challenge, but of acknowledgement. Of respect. Another wolf joined. Then another. Within seconds, hundreds of voices rose in a chorus that shook the stars, accepting her, celebrating her. Adam's face twisted with fury, but even he couldn't fight this. Not when the packs had spoken. "The council," he started. "The council," Frederick's voice cut through like a blade as he vaulted into the arena, "will honor the blood trial. As the law demands." He reached Haley, pulling her against him, and his eyes swept the stands. "Haley is moonborn. My mate. And your queen." The howls redoubled. And as Frederick claimed her mouth in a kiss that tasted like victory and forever, Haley finally understood. She'd never been unloved. She'd just been waiting for the right wolf to find her. 3 months later, the palace had transformed. Haley stood at the window of the royal chambers, their chambers now, watching the sun rise over the North Mountains. The view never got old. Neither did waking up wrapped in Frederick's arms, his heartbeat steady against her back. "You're thinking too loud," his sleep-rough voice rumbled behind her. She smiled. "Am I?" He pulled her closer, burying his face in her hair. "What's going on in that beautiful head of yours?" "Just everything." She turned in his arms. "A year ago, I was scrubbing floors. Now I'm Queen of the North. Moonborn. Most powerful wolf in the kingdom. My mate." He kissed her forehead. "Though personally, I liked you better as the girl who told me to stop being dramatic and teach her how to fight." Haley laughed. "You were being dramatic. I was terrified of losing you." His expression sobered. "I still am, sometimes. Then I remember you took down a blood hunter on your first shift, and I feel better. He was an idiot who underestimated me. Most people do. Once." Frederick's grin was wicked. "Then you show them that glowy moon thing and they fall in line real quick." It was true. In the 3 months since the blood trial, Haley had discovered the full extent of her abilities. The command voice that could stop wolves mid-strike. The healing light that could mend wounds. The way pack bonds sang when she touched them, strengthening connections that had frayed. She was Moonborn, a bridge between the goddess and her children. And slowly, carefully, she was learning what that meant. The council wants to meet this afternoon, Haley said. Something about establishing new protocols for moon-blessed wolves. Frederick snorted. Adam wants to save face. Pretend he wasn't trying to have you executed. He was afraid. They all were. Haley had spent weeks untangling the web of politics and fear that had led to the prohibition against her bloodline. Moonborn wolves are powerful, if one wanted to seize control. But you don't. Frederick cupped her face. You just want to help. To heal. To make things better. Is that naive? It's perfect. He kissed her, slow and sweet. And it's why the packs love you. Why they're calling you the Silver Queen. The moon's gift. Haley flushed. The titles still felt strange, but she was getting used to them. Getting used to being seen after a lifetime of invisibility. A knock at the door interrupted them. Enter, Frederick called, not moving away from Haley. Jerry stepped in, followed by Stella. Both were grinning. Sorry to interrupt your Majesty's morning makeout session, Jerry said dryly, but we have news. Good news or the kingdom is on fire news? Haley asked. Good news. Stella was practically bouncing. 3 more moon-blessed wolves have come forward. They've been hiding their entire lives, but after hearing about you, about what you did, her voice cracked. They want to come home, Haley. They want to be safe. Haley's throat tightened. 3 more. That made 7 moon-blessed wolves who'd revealed themselves in the past months, drawn by the promise that they wouldn't be hunted anymore. That they had a queen who would protect them. Bring them to the palace, she said. All of them. Their family. Already done. Jerry's expression softened. There's more. The Southern Packs want to negotiate an alliance. They're impressed by how you've united the North. Word is spreading that you're not interested in conquest, just peace. Peace and proper treatment of moon-blessed bloodlines, Frederick added. We've made that very clear. Crystal clear, Your Majesty. Jerry bowed. At this rate, we'll have treaties with all 12 territories by year's end. After they left, Haley sagged against Frederick. This is really happening. We're actually changing things. You're changing things. His arms tightened around her. I'm just the incredibly attractive king who's along for the ride. She laughed, swatting his chest. Then sobered. Do you ever regret it? Choosing me over. Haley. Frederick tilted her face up, his eyes fierce. I didn't choose you over anything. I chose you and everything that came with you. The throne, the kingdom, the battles, the future we're building together. He pressed his forehead to hers. You're not a burden I accepted. You're the best decision I ever made. Even though we're technically related, half-siblings separated by different mothers and zero emotional connection until we were adults, he shrugged. I've consulted with healers, scholars, and every religious authority I could find. Consensus is, the moon goddess wouldn't have bonded us if it was wrong. Nature doesn't make mistakes like that. Haley had wrestled with that truth for weeks before accepting it. The bond between them was real, sanctioned by forces older than mortal law. And their shared father, the old king, had been more stranger than parent to both of them. Still, it was complicated. What are you thinking now? Frederick asked. That my life is insane. She smiled. But also perfect. In a weird, complicated, probably shouldn't work but does kind of way. That's poetic. Shut up and kiss me, Your Majesty. He did. Thoroughly. And when they finally came up for air, the sun was fully risen, painting the mountains in gold. I love you, Frederick murmured against her lips. My queen. My mate. My Haley. I love you too. She'd never tire of saying it. Of feeling it. The bond between them warm and steady and eternal. Even when you're dramatic. Especially when I'm dramatic. Later, they would face the council. Would negotiate treaties and welcome frightened moon-blessed wolves home. would continue building a kingdom where power didn't mean oppression and difference didn't mean death. But right now, in this moment, Haley let herself simply be. She'd spent 23 years believing she'd never be loved, never belong, never matter. She'd been wrong. Because she'd always mattered, she'd just been waiting for her story to begin. Waiting for a king who saw past her invisibility to the blazing soul beneath. Waiting to discover that the girl who'd been hidden her whole life was actually meant to shine. And now she was exactly where she belonged. Wrapped in the arms of her mate, ruling a kingdom that celebrated rather than feared her, and finally living the life she'd always deserved. A life filled with love. A life filled with purpose. A life that was hers. Ready to face the day? Frederick asked. Haley looked out at the mountains, at the kingdom spread before them, and smiled. With you? Always. Thank you so much for joining me on Haley and Frederick's journey, loves. If this story touched your heart, please hit that subscribe button and drop a comment telling me what you thought. Did the twist surprise you? Were you rooting for them? Let me know. And remember, you are never too broken, too invisible, or too wrong to deserve love. Your story is just beginning. Until next time, beautiful souls. Stay wild, stay strong, and never forget, the moon sees you. And so do I.